The Short Shot Series of Muzzleloading Books. William Hovey Smith, 2020. This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman. And I'd like to tell you today about my 8-book ebook series on muzzleloading guns. These are specialized books and cover particular topics of muzzleloading. Now, I have written some 20 books. And my softcover books include Backyard Deer Hunting, which has a chapter on muzzleloading, and, of course, a book all about muzzleloading, Extreme Muzzleloading. Now, what we've done in this series of e-books is picked up some very specialized topics that are of intense interest, but to very few enthusiasts, that do not warrant the publication of a softcover book. But nonetheless, there needed to be a place to record hard information that you can use. Now, in this era of coronavirus, I have several things for you in several different directions. These are some of my 20 book titles, including my business book, Create Your Own Job Security. I also have business books. So, we have books you can use to learn about muzzleloading, okay? We have business books that you can use to learn how to start your own business. And right now, while you are otherwise unoccupied, is a good time to do serious research on that topic. And in my business books, I tell you how to raise immediate cash and also how to plan long term, to hopefully develop your own business that you can operate from your own house and don't have to worry about getting out, physically interacting with others, which is dangerous right now, as well as start you off on a path of lifetime earnings in many different directions. I don't advocate one particular type of business, but allow you to select your own. And we also have our new novel, Father of the Grooms. Here is a closer look at my business book, and now my new novel, Father of the Grooms. Murder, Marriage, and Mafia. An American family meets their Sicilian cousins. And in this novel, I incorporate some things about guns, which we'll tell you about in a little bit. Now, so far as my ebook series is concerned, book number 1 is Muzzleloaders for Hunters. I'm rewriting this book now, but the older version is still available from Barnes & Noble. In this book, I discuss the various types of muzzleloaders, and I'll show you many of them later. But this allows you to see generally what's available out there in the market, what price ranges we are talking about, and aid you in selecting your own first muzzleloader for whatever you want to do. If you're a hunter, or a reenactor, or a collector, or just interested in firearms evolution, how do you get these guns and how do you make them work? Many of the types of muzzleloaders that I have here on the table, or that I will show you, are no longer available. Therefore, they have to be bought as used guns. They are on the market. My short shot book number 2 is Buying Used Muzzleloading Guns. And tells you in detail how to evaluate and value muzzleloading guns. What's a good buy? What's a not so good buy? What guns to avoid? What things to look out for? Maybe a little small thing is wrong that can be easily corrected. You just put in one part, do a little cleaning, and you can buy a good gun at an excellent price. That's an option. And this shows you how to identify those options and act on them. Book number 3 is Shooting and Maintaining Your Muzzleloader. The subtitle is interesting. how to make your muzzleloader most effective and keep it working under almost any conditions. In the muzzleloading hunting season in states like Pennsylvania, this is done as a late season hunt when it's typically snowing and wet and sloppy and so on and so on and so on, like the eastern winters often are. So how do you keep your flintlock guns going? Since flintlocks are what the muzzleloading season requires in Pennsylvania. Well, we tell you again, in great detail, exactly how to do that. Book number 4 is Hunting with Muzzleloading Shotguns and Smoothbore Muskets. Now, most of you have seen muzzleloading shotguns. Typically, these are old, battered double guns that somebody has stuck up on the fireplace. Yeah. And you can buy them new from companies like David Peter Solid. Now, not only can you buy the typical double barrel, double hammer shotguns that most people think of, but guess what? The muskets used during the Revolutionary and Civil War periods make very effective shotguns. Yeah. The British Brown Bess, for example, is 75 caliber. That's 11 gauge. Okay. That means that you can use 12 gauge components, although 11 gauges fit better. And you can get 11 gauge wads from Dixie Gun Works. So you can make a very effective shotgun load out of your musket. Now that we've gone through about half of the titles, I want to show you some of the guns. This is a Kentucky rifle made by Navy Arms Company, and this was handed me by Val Forget himself, the founder of the company. And this is what most people think of when they think of muzzleloading, is a traditional Pennsylvania style or Kentucky style rifle. And these are very effective, and I've taken turkey, squirrels, and deer with this gun. So yeah, they really work. On one interesting hunt, I even used a flint I chipped from an old Indian arrowhead. Yeah, we shot a turkey with that. And we have a video about it. Well, maybe your taste goes towards original guns. This is an 1842 75 caliber or 11 gauge musket. And this was made for the Indian Service and imported by Atlanta Cutlery from the Royal Arsenal of Nepal. I got and rebuilt several of their guns. Some cleaned to shooting condition and some did not. This one is a shooter, and I have used it. I've taken swan with it, I've taken deer with it, and it's a good, solid gun. It looks grody, it looks like it's been used, and it really has. And this is as much of the restoration as I intend to do. I don't intend to take this down to bright metal, nor should you. But it shows all its markings. The barrel shows some exterior pitting. This version has sights. So yeah, this is a very effective gun. I was for 10 years a corresponding editor for Black Powder for the Gun Digest Annual, and consequently I shot everybody's guns. Now this one is made by Reitnauer in Pennsylvania specifically for the Pennsylvania muzzleloading season. It uses an L&R lock. It has a laminated stock, so it's as weather resistant as you can get, plus good fiber optic sights on it. So for you Pennsylvania hunters, yeah, now this is probably the ideal gun for you. And this one, this particular model is in 50 caliber, so the ammunition is easily available for it. And this, yeah, this will kill you deer for it. In modern muzzleloaders, like this Woodman's Arm Patriot, which is also in 50 caliber, this is a drop barrel muzzleloader. The barrel falls so you can remove the breech plug and easily load a 209 primer. I've got an aim point sight on it. And this is one of my favorite hog guns. It works. It's lightweight, it's easy, it's short to carry in the field, and it's just the ideal thing that I use when I get into thick cover after hogs, where you don't have room to swing, or sometimes time to swing, a very long gun if the hog is coming at you and he's only 5 or 6 feet away. Had that happen. To continue with my books now, book number 5. Hunting Big and Small Game with Muzzleloading Pistol. This little revolver is what most people think of when regards to muzzleloading pistols, particularly here in the U.S., where we're deeply steeped in Civil War culture. This is a replica of an 1858 Remington revolver, but a short barrel, so-called sheriff's model. Well, there were a few such guns made. This is a handy gun to carry in the field. Although it's 44 caliber, this gun has the power of about a 38 special. So consequently, I use it for small game hunting, and I also use it for finishing off pieces of big game that I wounded with something else. And that, despite trying to make careful shots, sometimes happens. So this gun gives me 6 rapid-fire follow-up shots from the deer stand. There are also particular pistols, modern design for handgun hunting. And this is perhaps the best of the lot. This is the Thompson Center Encore 209 by 50 pistol. This particular option is no longer available from Thompson Center now that it's been bought out by Smith & Wesson. Nonetheless, they're good, effective handguns. And I have killed big game with this, both in Africa and in the U.S. One of the largest hogs I've ever shot in Texas was taken with this particular gun, and it also took cleanly a warthog and finished off a blue wildebeest. So a good, effective, and versatile gun. Now you can take this same platform and yeah, you can put a rifle barrel and rifle stock on it too. Hunting with muzzleloading revolvers. For a long time, I thought of muzzleloading revolvers as only suitable for small game. And this is still true for the 36 calibers, the 31 calibers, and mostly the short 44s like this. The cylinder just didn't have enough room to contain enough powder and a heavy enough bullet. However, things have changed. Now that we have 777 powder, and now that Kato Ojama is making elongate Keith-style bullets, the effectiveness of these guns has been considerably increased. This is an example of an effective muzzleloading revolver. Now, this gun can develop 500 foot-pounds of muzzle energy using 777 and a Kato Ojama's bullet. It will take hogs and deer to 200 pounds all day, very effectively, and I've done it several times. It gives you repeat shot capability, which is significant if you're here in the southeast or anywhere else, and you run into a drove of hogs, you can make multiple shots. And I've done that. On one hunt on Cumberland Island, using another revolver, I took 2 hogs with 2 shots. Bang, bang, both dead. So these can be very effective hunting handguns if they're properly outfitted. Now the 14-inch barrel was installed by a gunsmith. It has now a scope sight on it, so it has real good long-range capabilities, and by long range for a pistol I mean 50 yards or so. So this gun will nail game to that range. Now my next gun is muzzleloading guns for self-defense. If prohibited from owning cartridge guns, Here are the best muzzleloaders for defending yourself and your family. All right. If I am going to reach for a gun for self-defense, this is going to be my choice. Muzzleloading guns are not magical. The 45 Auto here is a much better self-defense gun than any muzzleloader ever made. No doubt about it. However, if this is all you may legally own, then I tell you how to employ it. The same is true with young blunderbuss here. Blunderbusses were one of the most commonly used shop guns during the muzzleloading period. The shop owner would have one of these stuck behind the counter. They were lightweight, and he could defend himself with them. He had only a single shot, but if you're an intruder and you're looking at a 2-inch muzzle pointed in your direction, you may think twice about proceeding further. Now, we have hunted with this gun and used it, and this is a homemade ramrod out of a piece of palmetto stalk. Improvised, yeah, but it really works. The last of the titles is shooting or restoring your muzzleloader. Now this allows a muzzleloading enthusiast to build guns like the blunderbuss I just showed you that you can get nowhere else. This blunderbuss was built from a kit. It was very difficult to shoot. It was actually designed to be held at the waist and fired with both hands like this. But I wanted to hunt with it. So I built up the comb out of a piece of persimmon wood so I could sight over the bell and actually aim it, which is a very difficult thing to learn to do. Not impossible, but it's difficult. So we got it shooting, and it took a goose with some help, and it took a swan with some help, and it took a deer with some help, and it took a wild turkey cleanly. Bang! Hit from beak to feet. Boo! Poof! So, if you had nothing else, yes, you can hunt with it, but it's not recommended. Now, in building and restoring your muzzleloader allows you to do other things. Companies sell muzzleloading kits. Almost every gun sold by David Peter Solly, for example, is available not only as a finished rifle, but usually for $100 or $200 less in kit form, so you can put it together yourself. Now, there's no particular cost savings in doing this, by the way. You learn a lot about wood finishing and fitting, and can actually fit your muzzleloader better than they do at the factory. One thing you can do is glass bed the stock, which is always recommended, and gives you a good, tight, more weather-resistant fit for a muzzleloading gun. Now, the little crocket here, we've used to take squirrels. We've also used to take turkeys, for example. So a good, effective, lightweight, small game gun. This is an Indian gun. It's 75 caliber. It's taken after the British Brown Bess. So it's 11 gauge and one of my favorite muzzleloaders. And I've taken a wide variety of game with this, including deer and geese and ducks and swan and rabbits and squirrels and so on and so on and so on over the decades. I like it because it has a browned barrel. The barrel is also shorter than the usual Brown Bess musket by nearly a foot, so it makes for a handier gun. And the gun has enough weight that you can shoot 1.25 ounces of shot out of it using plastic wads and modern components, and actually make some decent groups with it, especially when you use something like heavy shot in plastic wads, all of which I have developed for this gun. So this is one that you can build yourself. Now, I am going to be building another such gun, which will be added to the Building or Restoring Your Own Muzzleloader book. So I'm still writing on this one. The rest of the titles have been finished or going to be rewritten. Book number 1, for example, I'm going to do a rewrite on, and I'm starting on that now. And the building or restoring book will be finished when I do the build on the Napoleonic musket that I'm going to be building for my book, Father of the Grooms. One of my characters is actually going to go on a boar hunt in Sicily and use such a gun. Now, I've boar hunted in Italy using muzzleloading guns successfully, and so I will also boar hunt with this particular flintlock. Just for the sake of contrast, this is a modern muzzleloading shotgun. Technically the most advanced such gun ever made. This was produced by Knight. It's a Knight TK2000. It can shoot a whopping 2 1/4 ounces a shot. I don't use that much shot. But nonetheless, this gun can do it. And it is an effective muzzleloading gun, and this model is still being made and produced today by Knight Rifles from its new location in North Carolina. Now, this is a gun whose parts are actually shown on the cover of Building or Restoring Your Own Muzzleloader. And the reason the parts look fuzzy and out of focus on the cover of the book is that that's how they looked when I got them. They were encrusted sometimes with 1/8 of an inch of old insect parts and dried grease and God only knows what else from from more than a century of storage. So we cleaned this particular gun again back to shooting condition, and we took it hunting. So this is another thing you can do with your muzzleloading guns. That is, actually restore them to shooting condition and use them. Now, this uses a special belted ball, and consequently there was one mold maker in the world who makes such molds, and I had a custom mold built for it. So we can shoot it with its proper ammunition with a patch belted ball, and yeah, it really worked. Now, these are some of the guns I've accumulated over the years, and many of them I really won't use again. So consequently, many of them are up for sale. And when you notice, as I went through the videos and showed you the pictures, yeah, I had for sale on some of these guns. So if you'd like to own one of these, you certainly may. Most of them are priced in the range of $500 or so. I do have a Kickstarter project starting for my new novel, Father of the Grooms. The focus of this particular Kickstarter project is to enable me to write the screenplay. I need to buy some programs, I need to buy some books, and so on, and take the time to write the screenplay, which will take about 4 months. So I'm raising money for this. As an added incentive, if you pay for one of these guns through this Kickstarter project, which will start on the 15th of April 2020, you'll get for every $50 a softcover version of this book. Otherwise, the first draft edition will only be available as an ebook, which you can get right now from Amazon, by the way, if you're interested. They're only $4.99, so they're pretty cheap and a good read, by the way. So you can get you one of those. Now, the soft covers are collector's books. They can be signed, numbered, produced only to meet the demand of the orders at the time, and not printed again in that version. So these things are going to appreciate in value. Some of my used books now bring $1,000 and more on the used book market. I can't say that this one will, or promise that it will, but maybe it could. So for 50 bucks, yeah, you might get you something that's worth $1,000 one day. So, and buy a very interesting gun from me in the process. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time. And stay safe, guys. Take care of yourself. Get out in the turkey woods. Do something. But for additional information on the guns, you can contact me at hoviesmith@bellsouth.net to arrange for payment and delivery. To find out more about my books, blogs, and over 800 videos, you can go to my website, www.hoviesmith.com. To learn about my book, screenplay, and movie project, Father of the Grooms, and the Kickstarter project associated with it, you can go to fatherofthegrooms.net. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.